Let's be honest, trying to figure out maternity leave and pay in the UK can feel like you're wading through a maze of rules and dates, right? Well, what if we could clear all that up in just a few minutes? So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to give you that clarity step by step. So, if you're planning for a new arrival, it's obviously a super exciting time. But, amidst all the joy and preparation, there's this big question hanging in the air. What are my rights at work? Well, let's find out. Okay, first things first, let's talk about time. The big headline number for your statutory maternity leave is 52 weeks. Yup, that's a full year that you are legally entitled to take off to be with your new baby. But, and this is the first really crucial thing to get your head around, while your leave can last for that full year, the statutory pay only covers a maximum of 39 of those weeks. Understanding that difference between your time off and the money coming in, that is absolutely key to your planning.
So, here's our game plan. We'll start with the basics of leave and pay. Then we'll check your eligibility, run through the important timeline, break down how your pay actually works, and finally, look at your rights and some other options you might have.
All right, Section 1, the basics. Let's just make sure we're all speaking the same language here.
First up, you've got statutory maternity leave, or SML. This is purely about the time you're allowed to take off. Just remember that big number, 52 weeks. And this isn't some nice-to-have company perk. This is your protected legal right. Okay, but here's where it gets a little more detailed. That 52-week leave is actually split into two halves. The first 26 weeks are called ordinary maternity leave. And during this time, you're guaranteed the right to return to your exact same job. The second 26 weeks are additional maternity leave. Now here you still return to your job unless it's no longer reasonably possible. In that case, your employer can offer a suitable alternative. It sounds like a small thing, but it's a really important difference to know about. And here's the other side of the coin, statutory maternity pay, or SMP. This is all about the money you might get while you're on leave. And you'll notice right away it's for up to 39 weeks. And yep, it comes with its own rulebook. So let's be super clear on this because it's a huge point. Just because you're eligible for the leave, it doesn't automatically mean you're eligible for the pay. So let's look at the exact boxes you need to tick to get that statutory maternity pay. Think of it like a simple 3-point checklist. First up, how long you've been there. You need to have been with your employer for 26 continuous weeks by a very specific date. Second, your earnings. You have to make at least £123 a week on average. And finally, the paperwork. You've got to give the right notice and provide proof of pregnancy. And that brings us to maybe the most important bit of jargon you need to know, the qualifying week. Honestly, everything hinges on this one date. It's the 15th week before your due date, and it's the official snapshot in time that's used to measure if you've worked there long enough. Okay, so you know if you're eligible, great. Now for the practical part, actually telling your employer. And this is the part where you really need to have your calendar handy because the timing is critical. Let's look at the key dates you absolutely cannot miss. Think of this as your roadmap. The first big deadline is that 15th week before your due date. That's when you have to tell your employer you're pregnant and say when you'd like your leave to begin. Then, a bit later, after 21 weeks, you'll get the official proof, called a MAT-B1 form, from your midwife or doctor. Once you've done your part, the ball is in their court. They have 28 days to get back to you and officially confirm all your dates. All right, you've qualified, you've given notice. Now for the question on everyone's mind. What can you actually expect to see hitting your bank account? Let's break down exactly how it's calculated. It's basically a two-tier system. For the first 6 weeks of your leave, things are pretty good. You'll get 90% of your average weekly earnings, and there's no cap on that. After those first 6 weeks, for the next 33 weeks, it drops down to a standard flat rate, which is currently £187.18 per week. Or it's 90% of your earnings if that happens to be less. Right, and this is something you absolutely have to factor into your budget. Remember, your total leave entitlement is 52 weeks, but that statutory pay only covers 39 of them. This means that under the standard government scheme, those final 13 weeks of your leave are unpaid. Okay, we've covered the big two, leave and pay, but what about everything else? Let's quickly go over the essential rights that protect you while you're away, and some alternatives you might have if S&P isn't an option for you. The great thing is, being on leave doesn't mean your rights at work just stop.
You still build up holiday entitlement, which is fantastic. You are protected from unfair dismissal. You're even entitled to any company-wide pay raises that happen while you're gone. Plus, you can use up to 10 keeping in touch days to do some work, which you get paid for, without it affecting your leave or your pay.
But what if you go through that checklist and realize you don't qualify for SMP? Well, don't panic, because there's a backup plan. It's called maternity allowance. This is a payment that comes directly from the government, and it's designed as a safety net for people who might be self-employed or maybe just haven't been in their current job long enough.
And it's also worth knowing that the whole system has become a lot more flexible. There's something called shared parental leave, which basically gives you the option to share the remaining leave and pay with your partner. It just gives you more choice in how you want to care for your child in that first year.
So, there you have it. From the difference between leave and pay, to the timelines and all your rights, you've now got the roadmap. The system can seem complex, but it really is there to support you. The most important thing is just to understand what you're entitled to and talk to your employer early. So that leaves us with one final thought. With all this info buzzing in your head, what's the one conversation you're now ready to have?